Or, oh, how that woman could cook her food was like grand opera sound. Why, you could give her dining room table one look, right away you gain 7 pounds. A sick man could eat himself well pretty quick. And when he got well, he ate himself sick. And her price, without question, would cure in deception. Ah, God, how that woman could cook.
Hi everybody, and welcome to my kitchen and today's first episode of Gina's Good Looking Cooking. We are celebrating today, not only because it is the first episode we're filming, and please keep that in mind as we're working out the bugs and getting all this figured out. It's also my friend Deanna's birthday. I got to spend time with her yesterday evening, and she did not so gently remind me that she needed banana cake. So today that's what we're making, and it's officially from this day forward known as Deanna's banana cake. Happy birthday, my friend. Now, here are the ingredients we'll need to make this delicious cake. You'll need 3/4 cup of room temperature butter. That's 1.5 sticks, and Life Short used butter. 2 cups of white sugar, 3 eggs, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 teaspoons baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 1/2 cups of mashed bananas. I have about 4 medium bananas. Alright, to start out with, we're going to take our 1.5 sticks of butter. Margarine is okay, I'm sure. I believe Life's Short, and you should add butter to everything every chance you get. And we're going to start that off in our mixer and get it creamed. My KitchenAid was my Christmas present this last year from my husband, and I have developed such a love for this thing. I thought I was a good cook before. Now I'm not so sure because it does all the work for me. So the butter's creamed. You want to make sure it's room temperature. I usually set my butter out the night before I'm going to do baking on the counter, and the next morning it's ready to start. So we're going to add our sugar now. We've got the 2 cups of sugar. Just add it. Turn the mixer up a little bit. Let's get that fully incorporated. You want the butter and the sugar to be fluffy and light yellow in color. It takes just a minute. We have 3 eggs that's going into this cake. We add the eggs 1 at a time slowly, so I'll go ahead and get the first one ready. And this looks just about right, so we'll put the first egg in. Let that mix and incorporate thoroughly, and then add the next. You always want to crack your eggs into a separate bowl. I know it doesn't happen very often, but there is the occasion where you get a bad egg. You don't want to be cracking them into your mixing pan because then you've got to throw everything away and start over. Let them get fully incorporated, and now we're going to add the 3rd egg. And a tablespoon of vanilla. Our flour is here. We have salt and baking soda. Just mix that into the flour. Give it a quick little stir with a whisk to get it incorporated. And buttermilk. Don't not make this recipe because you don't have buttermilk. It's an easy thing. Every kitchen's got a substitution for it. To make a substitution for buttermilk, all you need is a measuring cup with 1 tablespoon of lemon juice or white vinegar. Fill it to the 1 cup mark with milk. Let it sit for 2 to 5 minutes and you have buttermilk. It's as easy as that. You can also take 3/4 of a cup of plain yogurt, add 1/4 of a cup of milk to that to thin it. Buttermilk substitution. So don't avoid recipes that call for things you don't normally have in your refrigerator. There's always a way around it, and this is every bit as good as buying a jug of buttermilk. So what we're going to do now is add our buttermilk and flour alternately to the butter and egg and sugar mixture. So we start with flour and end with flour. So we're going to do a little bit of the flour. Going slowly in your mixer, or you will wear more than it goes in. A little bit of the buttermilk. And more flour. More buttermilk. Rest of our flour. And the last of the buttermilk. You want to let that mix thoroughly. Don't forget to scrape down the sides. You want the batter to be thoroughly blended. Just another turn or two, and then we'll add the bananas. I always buy more bananas than we seem to be able to eat. So what I do when they start to get ripe is put them in a Ziploc, kind of smash them together with my hands, and then freeze flat in the freezer. Don't forget to label them so you'll know what you have. It's an easy way to have something available whenever you're ready to start cooking. You've got some bananas in the freezer. You've got lemon juice and milk, so you can make buttermilk. There's no reason not to try this. So now after it's mixed thoroughly, we're just going to fold the bananas in. Now the thing that I believe makes this recipe so special is its unconventional cooking method. We're going to be baking this in 275-degree oven for 1 hour. Most cakes are 325 to 350. The first time I saw that, I thought it was a typo. I discovered this recipe years and years ago. It's not mine, but I decided to make it like the recipe said just to see, because I like trying new things. And it turned out wonderfully. And the second secret to this, and like I said, I think it's more of a cooking and cooling technique. As soon as your cake comes out of the oven, piping hot, you want to put it in the freezer for 45 minutes. I think it's the combination of the steam and the rapid cooling. It just makes the most moist, unbelievable cake you'll ever have. So now we're going to get our pan ready. Get some space. Oven preheating. I use a baking spray that has flour in it. It's just so much easier than greasing and flouring the pan. And because I'm sending this home with Deanna this afternoon, and I still haven't gotten the pan back from her that I made the last banana cake for her in, I'm using the throwaway aluminum pan. So you just want to make sure you get it sprayed well so the cake doesn't stick. It's not something that we turn out, so we don't have layers. It's a sheet cake. I'm sure that it would be delicious as a layer cake. The frosting that we're going to be making a little later is absolutely amazing. It's a whipped cream cheese frosting. So not only the delicious cream cheese frosting that we all love and eat with a spoon when no one's looking, it's got whipped cream in it as well to make it even more light and fluffy. So now we've got the batter in our pan. This is a little smaller than the standard 9x13, so it's going to be a nice thick deep. It might need to bake a little longer than the hour, As with any cake, you test it with a pick. If the pick comes out clean, your cake's done. I usually give it a couple of good thumps on the counter. That brings up any air bubbles, so you've got a nice, even, dense cake. Now it's ready to go in the oven. 275 again. I know it sounds bizarre, but it does work for 1 hour. Check it. If you need more time, give it 5-minute increments. Check it and get it out. And in the freezer is the next step. So we'll be back in an hour. All right, it's time to pull it out of the oven. I've been checking it every 10 minutes since the 1 hour mark. Like I said, it is a smaller pan. I knew it would take longer to bake. This took a full hour longer, so twice the baking time. Just shows you that recipes have recommendations, but you have to keep in mind that when you change something, everything about it changes. So I like to take a couple of toothpicks, just check it in a few different areas, just make sure the toothpick comes out clean, you're good. Check it right in the middle. You want to be sure every bite is just perfectly cooked. As you see, this gets a really nice dark brown, almost crusty top. It would be great right now with a cup of tea in the afternoon, no frosting needed. However, it's a birthday cake, and what's a birthday cake if it doesn't have frosting? So in the freezer, we're going with this. If you were making it in a normal sheet cake pan, it'd be freeze for 45 minutes. Since this was a little deeper pan, I'm going to leave it in for about an hour. So I'm going to clean up from this, and we'll be back in a bit to make the frosting and turn this into a birthday cake. Okay, the cake's been in the freezer. It's almost time to come out, so let's get the frosting made. And to make this delicious whipped cream cheese frosting, you'll need the following ingredients. 1 8-ounce block cream cheese, 1 cup white sugar, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 1½ cups heavy whipping cream, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, so it's going to be noisy for a little bit, so I'm going to tell you what we're doing first and then just do it instead of trying to talk over mixers. I've got my cream here, heavy whipping cream here, in a cold bowl. My beaters were in the freezer. They're good and cold, so that's ready to start whipping. We'll take our block of room temperature cream cheese, 1 cup of sugar, just a pinch of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon at best. Salt is a flavor enhancer. It just makes sweet better. And then we're going to add our teaspoon of vanilla to that. If you wanted to keep this a pure white frosting, I would say get clear vanilla. However, it's not that much vanilla. You're not going to have brown frosting by any means. So I'm going to start whipping the cream now first, and you want to get it to stiff peaks. Doesn't take long, but this is one of those things where the tub of frozen whipped topping just is not a substitute. And some recipes, there just isn't another option. So let's start whipping the cream. We'll start this creaming together, blend them together, and then we'll frost a birthday cake. So that's a stiff peak. Sorry, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it really, really is loud. I'll have to see if Mike can maybe put some music in place of that horrible noise while we're waiting for this to be done. So now we've got our whipped cream beaten. Just going to set that over to the side for a minute. Oh, and we've splattered everywhere. Part of the fun is making the mess. We're done with the hand mixer now, so we'll get it out of the way. Let's do a quick scrape down to the pan here to make sure that the cream cheese and the sugar have blended thoroughly, and you probably are questioning why granulated sugar instead of powdered sugar. Well, a cup of powdered sugar is a lot sweeter than a cup of granulated sugar, and this is not about the frosting. This is about just that hint of sweetness to go along with the delicious banana cake. So that's all creamed well, and we're going to just add this delicious whipped cream in. You can fold this in. I find just a couple of quick turns with the mixer is enough to get it all blended together and not lose any of the fluffy volume. So just get it all in there. You don't want to miss a bite of it. This is going to be so delicious. And if you're lucky, you'll have a little bit left over after you frost your cake. Save it in the container in the fridge, and graham crackers with a little Nutella and a quick spread of this is a bedtime snack that you'll want to have every night. So we're going to just give it a couple of quick turns just to get it all blended together and creamy. And that's it, whipped cream cheese frosting. And here's the cake out of the freezer. It's not frozen, it's just been really quickly cooled. As you see, it's kind of sunken down in itself. That just is making it more dense and moist and delicious. As I said, it's got a nice crust on the top. Would be great just sliced and eaten with a cup of coffee for a quick morning snack. But it's a birthday, so it's going to be frosted for sure today. So now we're going to just give it a quick stir, make sure it's all blended in together, and just pile it on the cake. This is a whipped cream cheese frosting, so it does have to be refrigerated. But it's not going to last that long, so don't worry about it. And we just want to start at the middle and spread out to the edges. You want to have every single bite covered with a delicious layer of this frosting. And this cake is great as it is, just in its pure form, but it's one of those, I love to play with my food, and this is definitely one of those recipes you can play with. Imagine a cup of raisins, or pecans, or both. Some cinnamon and blueberries stirred into it. There's any number of combinations you could do. Add chocolate chips. Makes me want to make a whole nother batch as soon as I'm done with this one. And don't skimp on the frosting. And this is, butter, whipped cream, but we don't eat this way every day. This is a special occasion. This would be bring it to the potluck, the family reunion, the birthday cake, something to put on the dessert table for Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving, all things in moderation, and you can enjoy all things. So, all right, we are frosted good all the way out to the edges. A nice ooey gooey thick layer. And there's a little bit left for graham crackers for me later on. Pantry's never without Nutella. And you can make this as pretty or as simple as you'd like. This frosting, as you see, is soft but could be piped nothing intricate, but you could pipe it, definitely. And now, just to make it more of a celebration, some silly little candles I picked up. So we'll spell out happy birthday on it. And then Deanna will be by in just a little bit to pick up her birthday cake. Thanks everybody for being a part of this. I hope you try this recipe and enjoy the baking and cooling technique. And most of all, I hope that you enjoy the cake. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.
I'm sorry.
Or, oh, how that woman could cook her food was like grand up and down. Why, you could give her dining room table one look, right away you gain 7 pounds. A sick man could eat himself well pretty quick. And when he got well, he ate himself sick. And her pies, without question, would pure in deception. Ah, God, how that woman could cook.